Hello everyone. We have some nice music going on. Great. So welcome everyone to Crypto Miners Twitter space. Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. Great. Thanks for the music. No, it's not ending. Who is playing music? Alpha, is it you? Anyway, we are soon ready to start. I think we are waiting for my dear co-host. There he is. Hi, Maurice. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Crypto Miners Twitter space. My name is Mary. I will be your host. But today, we also have a guest from our partner channel. Maurice from Caesar's Calls is here to co-host this event with me. Warm welcome to you, Maurice.
Thank you so much, and I'm so honored to be here with the team here from Decentraland. Their existence in the space long outweighs mine, so I can't wait to hear everything they've been able to accomplish so far, and really just what the future has in store there.
Exactly. We are trying to pause the music. I don't know.
It's nice and mellow, though. I'm liking it.
Yeah, it's a great. I think it's new from Twitter, actually.
It's nice, it's perfect Christmas vibes. It puts me in the. It feels like I'm at the mall doing some shopping.
Don't fall asleep. Alpha, if you mute yourself, maybe it shuts up. I don't know. There. Great. Now we can talk. Yes. And as you said, Maurice, today we have a project presentation from Decentraland. And I'm so happy to welcome you guys. We have, let's see, we have Scott Moore, core member, Kanessa, community builder, and Peanut Butter, community manager. Hi, guys. Happy to have you here.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Oh, good morning. You
might be good morning.
over at in America somewhere.
Yeah, I'm West Coast, so it's 7 o'clock in the morning over here. So I was enjoying that music. It went really well with my coffee this morning.
That's perfect.
You're lucky. You're lucky. I'm still waiting on my coffee to get here. I ordered some breakfast and a coffee, and it's taken a little longer than expected, but hopefully before too long I'll be juiced up.
Great. And Scott, welcome you too.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
Good morning.
It's so nice to see. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead you.
I was just going to say, it's nice to see so many familiar faces and so many new faces. So good morning. I'm excited to talk about Decentraland.
Yeah, and we are really excited to hear about Decentraland because it's such a well-known project, but also maybe not everyone know exactly what it is and how to use it. So that's what I hope we can go into a little bit today. So yeah, welcome everyone and everyone who tuned in to listen today, this beautiful Saturday, if it's morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you are, guys. I'm happy you're here. So why don't we jump in and have a little presentation of you guys? How long have you been into crypto, and also how long have you been in with Decentraland, and what is your position there? What are you doing? What's your job? Any order is all right.
I could go first. I got into crypto probably like around 2017 time, around like the big Bitcoin rush, but I kind of just got in as a speculator, so I didn't really invest or participate at the time. I just kind of watched like the bull run happen and everything kind of fall back off, and was just kind of like looking into projects that I was interested in over time. I ended up finding Decentraland a little bit later on than like Canessa did, but that was around probably January 2021 for me. I was just really interested in the space. So whenever I found Decentraland, like being a PC gamer my whole life, like just having a virtual world attached to Web3 totally made sense to me. So I just started making like YouTube videos and stuff like that for fun. My channel on YouTube is just like peanut butter. You search my name just like this. And yeah, I just kind of like started growing into the space from there. Started getting well acquainted with the community. Kind of built a bunch of relationships within the community and the Decentraland Foundation. So then it ended up working out for me a few months later to come onto the team with the Decentraland Foundation to help with a few things on their side. And yeah, I've been doing some community management and stuff like that. I also help participate in making some of the videos for some of the events and promos and releases and things like that we do. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey.
Great, thank you. Next, please.
I'll go next. Yeah, so I've been in crypto since about 2011 when I bought, well, actually, yeah, I purchased my first Bitcoin, but I also provided a sketching service. So for 1/10 of a Bitcoin, I'd give you a sketch. It was called Doodlebit. Yeah, I've just been interested in open source software for the longest time. I used to be an art director at a local TV station, and I was really adamant about using open source software there. So I used Blender for creating animation, computer graphics, just for bumpers and lower thirds at a local TV station. That was back in, oh my gosh, 2005. Anyway, yeah, so when I heard about Decentraland in about 2017 from a YouTuber called Node, I was very intrigued by it because it involved blockchain, it involved open source, and it involved social networks. So we're coming up on about a year since I've been in Decentraland. December 22nd is, I think, when I first logged in. And I've just been a very involved community member. I help admin a Discord called Community Building Discord that Canessa is one of the progenitors of. So she's responsible for helping create that space. I mean, it's a community built space, so it's really everybody that's created it. So yeah, so when you reached out and asked if I wanted to talk, I jumped at the chance. So thank you for this opportunity.
Great, we're happy to have you here, Scott. So, ladies first is not an expression in America, right? Canessa, go.
That's okay. It's good that we give the boys a platform to speak as well.
Yeah.
We saved the best for last around here.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
No.
Go ahead, Canessa.
I'm Canessa, and I got into crypto in kind of the 2017, 2018 spike, but then I sold it all because I couldn't stand the losses. And when I got back into it, when I came into like altcoins, Decentraland, like Mana was the first coin that I bought after Bitcoin because it just caught my eye. I was like, what's this? This looks interesting. And then in 2019, they started the land builder contest. And so I created a whole bunch of scenes for that. And I was one of the winners. And so I got like a parcel of land, and that kind of really got me interested in just, getting different land and trying to think about all the things that I could build on it. So at that point, you couldn't walk in the world, and it was all just pretty much your participation was just kind of building like from the outside looking in, and then also just dreaming about like, oh my gosh, what is it going to be like? It's going to be awesome, and we're going to do this and this and this. And then I kind of, I wasn't as active, but I would kind of come in throughout the years. And then I came back in a more active way last November. And then I've been able to, participate with a lot of different events and groups. I'm part of the DCL Baby Dolls, and we do a lot of brand activations. We worked with Absolute Vodka and Coachella and Jägermeister and some other really cool brands. And then I host a weekly Twitter space with my co-host Sinful Meat Sticks, and that's kind of where the idea of community building Decentraland started. And our idea with that was that we can work smarter, not harder. And there's a lot of talented people in our community. So getting those people connected, like if you're a builder and you want, but you don't have land, well, here's somebody that has land, but they don't know how to build. And so kind of making those connections happen a little bit quicker than if they happened organically was our main idea from that. But yeah, I could talk about Decentraland for hours. So I'll cap it right there.
That sounds amazing. So yeah, I wanted to know how it actually works with Decentraland, because I'm not a gamer. Maybe Maurice has more intel there and has tried it. We'll hear about that soon. But can we have like a short introduction from you guys? What is Decentraland to someone like me who are not super aware exactly what it is and what's going to happen on the platform and what you can do? I mean, I know you can buy land, but can you still do that, or is it all sold out? And yeah, let's have an introduction from you.
Well, I'll jump in there, but I'm sure that these guys could explain it better than me. But I think a lot of times the misnomer is that we call it a game, and it's not a game. Like, there are games in Decentraland, but it's so much more than that. It's a social media platform. It's a place for businesses to come to grow their brands. It's a place for big brands to come in and do activations. Like, the way that I think about it is that it's the internet in 3D. So like, just like you would have a internet provider and then you'd build your website on top of it. Like, let's see, Hillshire Farms is one that just came in. So like, they might have their website in the real world on the internet, but in Decentraland, they have an actual 3D build that you can go in and kind of participate with the brand just like that. So maybe Scott and Peanut Butter, you guys can jump in and piggyback off of that.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was pretty well said. Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, I just shared a tweet with a link to my DCO Worlds realm, and that's something that was just announced about a month ago. So you talk about purchasing land. Yes, it's possible to still purchase land, although it's on the secondary market. So back when Decentraland initially launched, Canessa talked a little bit about it. They had their initial coin offering. Peanut Butter helped me out on the dates. It was September 2017. Is that correct? Maybe.
Yeah, sounds right.
Okay, yeah. So it's been a while, right? So that was the initial coin offering. That was then there was an initial land sale. I think that was in 2019, if memory serves. But so yeah, if you're going to purchase any land, you need to purchase on the secondary market. You can purchase it through Decentraland's marketplace. But as of a month ago, with the advent of DCL Worlds, if you purchase a name, so there's a few assets that you can buy in Decentraland or in association to Decentraland. One of them is land. And the other one is names, and then the level 2 on the Polygon network is wearables. So purchasing a name right now costs 100 mana, and since mana, I just checked Coinbase, it's at 33 cents for $33. So roughly with gas, it'll be about $35. You can get a name in Decentraland. So if you're a guest, you can log in. It doesn't cost anything, right? Anybody with a browser can log into Decentraland. You just need to have a few minimal system requirements. But yeah, if you want to, you can own your name. That way it doesn't have your wallet address at the end of it. So if you log in as a guest, it'll do a hashtag and then the last 4 digits of your wallet, right? And that's how guests get logged in. Even if you don't have a wallet, you can just enter your email address and it will assign you like a custodial wallet or something like that. But if you
So when you say
yeah, go ahead.
purchase a name,
Yeah.
what kind of names? I mean, can I like choose my own name then? Can I do like Mary at
Probably
Decentraland?
already
That's my
taken.
name, or yeah, I
But
guess Mary is already taken.
so yeah, like if you wanted to use like crypto miner, so here I'll just go to the market right now. So it's market.decentraland.org,
Uh-huh.
right? And then there's a section in there for oh, wait a minute, sorry, builder. I mean, I can scroll down and go to names, but basically you go to the part in the market where you're going to purchase a name. Yeah, sorry, it's builder.decentraland.org. So you can build a scene, you can purchase land, you can purchase names. So you go there, you claim your name, sign your wallet using MetaMask or Wallet Connect or whatever Coinbase wallet and Fortmatic are the 4 options that it gives you. So once you sign in with your wallet, you basically pay $33 for 100 mana, and if your name is not already claimed, then you purchase your name. With that comes you get your own unique name that nobody else gets, but you also have the capacity to deploy up to 200 megabytes worth of files in a scene in your own test network that they're calling DCL worlds. And it's essentially your own realm. So just like in Spatial or Monoverse, where you get your own unique URL for your world, you get the same with Decentraland. But it's a one-time purchase instead of an annual fee. And right now, 100 mana is pretty cheap. So I'd recommend people hop on that.
Great, sounds good. Yeah. So let me ask you, Maurice, have you tried Decentraland? What's your experience with Decentraland?
So, like as I was mentioning, like the team here at Decentraland, like from their conceptualization back in 2017, they got about five times my experience in the market. So, I mean, I have not personally tried it. I'm not a PC guy though myself. I have Peanut Butter would be pretty disappointed to hear I'm a console gamer probably still. I have my brand new Xbox and I don't know if I'll ever let it go. So I have not, but I do actually have a few friends who have purchased and own land in Decentraland. So again, I have seen their little worlds that they're building up. And for me, the concept of Decentraland is really exciting because of that real world aspect. Because, I pinned something up on the Jumbotron there, which is an announcement they put up yesterday about Bing Crosby coming into the metaverse, which is incredible because, my parents are in their 70s. They talk about what I do and they think it's a joke. They don't really understand crypto. They don't understand DeFi. But what they would understand is if I'm like, hey, you guys know Bing Crosby, well, this project has like Bing Crosby. So again, I think Decentraland for me has so much value because they've been able to show the use case to get real-time brands, real-time individuals to use their service. And for most of DeFi or crypto projects, that gap is the hardest one to narrow. So I think they've already kind of accomplished the hardest thing, which is getting that real world adoption. Now it's again, market conditions are terrible. The market in terms of non-crypto users are so afraid to get in. The biggest use case for me is that community aspect, but also the brand extension into DeFi and into crypto. And I just think right now with everything that's happened on the market with these exchanges, brands are hesitant from making that push. So once things stabilize a little bit more, again, with everything Decentraland's built, they're very well positioned, as the pioneer in the metaverse space to succeed. So personally haven't used it. I know a couple friends who have built up land, but for me, I love this project. I love the concept because of what they're doing to move crypto forward to the masses, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I actually own some mana. I have it over at Binance. I don't know how to move it to my wallet if I need to or something, but maybe we could talk about that later. Uh, so, guys, what else can you tell someone who wants to now step into this world of Decentraland and start doing something? What's the easiest way to start is to maybe then buy your name, and then what can you do in there when you enter?
So I wanted to touch on something with the names real quick just before we move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Just a connection that could possibly be that might be, might give a little bit more information to people on how the name service works. But with Decentraland names, it uses ENS, the Ethereum name service. If anybody's familiar, if you ever see anybody, say I use like peanutbutter.eth, which is my Ethereum name service name, my ENS name. Decentraland uses the same thing, ENS, but Decentraland uses a subdomain. So whenever you purchase your name, say whenever I went to buy peanut butter on the Decentraland marketplace, what it does is creates an ENS that doesn't expire with the subdomain, Decentraland subdomain. So it creates decentraland.dcl.eth and mints it as an NFT, just as it does whenever you buy an ENS name. And then that connects with Decentraland. So I know a lot more people are familiar with ENS, so I just kind of wanted to make that tie. Yeah, just as a little bit as additional context. But yeah, as far as getting into Decentraland and finding out where to start or what to do, there's quite a few different tools users could use for that. One of which that I recommend people checking out is the events page. If you go to decentraland.org, there will be an events tab up at the top, and you can click that and it'll toggle to the events page. There, anybody could create an event for what they're doing. So if anybody's hosting an event, they could put it up there, and then people can find things to do. So I usually scroll through there and check out for different things going on that I might be interested in. And then you could jump right into different locations, different events from that page. Another good tool is if you load into Decentraland and then you make it into World and you're trying to find out where people are at. What you could do is hit the X key on your keyboard. X is an X-ray, and it'll open up an Explore page. And then within that, there's a little tab that says Places. And in that Places menu, it'll show you all of the locations that have people at them in numerical order, starting with the place that has the highest amount of people. So another good thing you could do is just to use that, see where people are at, and jump in, and you could find places to see what people are doing, or
and you don't really know, you don't really need anything special except a computer then to jump in and try it out.
Yeah, correct. It does take quite a bit of computer power. Like if you're not familiar with computer gaming and your computer isn't made to handle computer games, you might have a bit of trouble. I actually just worked with a team this past week the website is called System Requirement Labs, and they have a section on there called Can I Run It? If you were just to Google Can I Run It? And then on that page, you could type in Decentraland. And then what it'll do is it'll scan your computer settings, and it'll look at the Decentraland recommended settings, and it'll compare the two, and it'll tell you if your computer has everything that it needs to be able to properly run Decentraland. So if you're having a hard time loading in, or you're laggy or anything like that, you could use that as a resource to see if your computer has a specific bottleneck that might be keeping you from running at high performance.
Okay, cool. And if you are a more advanced user then and wants to build your own, you can build your own game on there and have others play it. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually really interesting. I've seen lots of creators in the space that come in with really no knowledge or previous knowledge. Of course, there's lots of people that come in with lots of knowledge and expertise, but I'm gonna use Group A as this example. So a bunch of people come into the space and they're interested in Decentraland, and they want to learn how to build. Decentraland has a lot of tools available through the documents and through the SDK, the software development kit, and tons of resources where people have been able to come in, learn how, all of these coding and 3D modeling mechanics, and create really cool experiences in the space. So yeah, Decentraland provides a lot of tools for people to be able to come in and really take over whatever their imaginations are. So that's really cool. And of course, like I said, if you have, previous knowledge and expertise, you'll come in and be able to, make quick work of it. So yeah, it's definitely really cool. And then a step beyond that, it's users have figured out how to own land if they own land, or if there's also a rental feature. You could go in and you could rent land. So you have a place to build and develop. You get into learning the SDK and modeling and creating your game or your experience or whatever it may be. And then after you've got a solid product, you could go into the Decentraland DAO. If you create a good proposal and to get the community backing with votes, you could potentially get funded from the DAO with a grant to build out your experience too, which is really cool.
And how can you earn money in there then? If you have to build something and then have people come use it, or what's the most beneficial thing you can do if you want to earn?
Yeah, so there's a handful of different play to earn games, which is really up to different creators that are creating these experiences in the space. It's not necessarily like the Decentraland Foundation that has any kind of play to earn or reward models or anything like that. It's all experiences that people create in the space. But yeah, there's quite a few play to earn games with different mechanics where you could just participate in the game and earn different rewards, such as wearables or emotes or different crypto tokens. In some instances, with like DG with their ICE poker, you could earn their ICE token as a reward, a daily reward, and then you could easily swap that to USDC to cash out or whatever, which is really cool. So yeah, lots of ways to earn rewards in the space just by participating.
So before I hand it over a little bit to Maurice here, I'm sure he has lots of nice questions for you guys. How much time do we have? Do you have to be somewhere in a specific time, or it's early morning over there? Maybe you have to go somewhere. Just check.
I got all day.
All day? Oh, okay, yeah. Maurice.
Oh, you don't have to tell me I run 3-hour AMAs all the time. So, Scott shouldn't have said that.
Go ahead, Maurice. Do you have questions for the team?
Yeah, no. So actually, Peanut Butter brought up a really, really important point. And, he touched on that wearable item aspect. And I was curious, how you've been so successful to try and get real world brands to want to work with you. Because, as somebody in this space with, that's been around for about 16 months on our end, we built up good brand recognition. And one of the things that's tough is if you have good brand recognition, sometimes, again, when you're the leader or the bigger name, sometimes you're almost to partner with somebody else, you're giving away your reputation, your brand to them. So with you as Decentraland being, a top metaverse or a top DeFi or altcoin, if you actually look at the Mana itself, how have you been so successful to partner up with brands in the real world to show the mutual benefit? Because for me, that's the biggest gap when crypto projects are trying to offer things to real world brands. Because for you, what do you have to show essentially, let's take some big names like a Nike or an Adidas to make them want to put their product in your metaverse? And again, you guys have been one of the most successful. You're a pioneer in the space. So from the white paper in 2017 to actually launching the metaverse in 2020 and being able to pull brands in successfully over the last 2 years, what's been, again, you don't have to give away your secret, but what have been some of the ways you leverage the brand or your community to get those, real world companies to want to work with you and partner up?
I'll
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I was gonna say a few things, and then I knew Kinessa would have a lot to speak on this, so I'm not gonna cut her off. I'll let Kinessa go.
Well, I was just going to say, some of the brands that I worked with, I think that the ones that have succeeded have really found a way to utilize the community, because the one thing that Decentraland has in the metaverse that a traditional website doesn't is that we do have a community, and we have maybe not face-to-face contact, but we have our avatars. And so one of the brands that really hit this mark perfectly was Absolute Vodka. When they came in and did an activation, they had a hybrid IRL meetup. So like in Coachella, the big music concert in California, they had an Absolute Vodka tent. And then in that tent, they had a screen that was probably like 10 feet high by like 15 feet wide. It was huge. It was ginormous. And on that screen, they had the view from Decentraland. So all of our avatars, the team that I was with, the baby dolls, we were all there. And then our position was to talk to the people in the real world. So people, partiers at Coachella would come in, they'd talk on the computer to us, we would talk back to them. And so it was really the in my opinion, the best use case of like bridging real world experiences with the metaverse. And so that made it just so much more realistic that we have these two places that can kind of occur simultaneously. There's been other activations that just pretty much come in, build, have a free wearable machine. You can come in and get a wearable, and then they're done. And so really, if once brands start kind of tapping into that human element, I think that's what makes it so much more powerful. Like, I think part of that promotion was like you could buy the idea was that you could buy a drink for somebody in the real world from the metaverse. And so really, when we start thinking about the implications of mixing these two, then it's going to have huge potential and huge like benefits for both, the consumer, the brands that are coming in, as well as the metaverse too. And you can do things in the metaverse you can't do in the real world. So like, really cool stuff. Gravity, you don't have to have gravity in Decentraland. You can give away wearables, wearables that defy physics. And so like, there's a whole different niche crowd of people that are coming in for those things as well.
Incredible.
That
Could I
sounds
talk
awesome.
to, go ahead, Mary.
No, go ahead. You.
I was just going to speak to the community aspect, and Kinessa mentioned Absolute Vodka. We've got the first Spirit of the Metaverse launched in Decentraland, and that's Wisher Vodka. Full disclosure, I am a holder, NFT holder in Wisher. I was there at Mint Day, but one of the ways is from the ground up, right? You can have existing brands come in and have activations like Peanut Butter and Canessa we're talking about, and then you have companies that are, starting out in the metaverse. And Wisher Vodka is, I think, a really good example. Before they had bottles in any liquor stores or bars across the country or the world, they had liquor, they had vodka in the metaverse, and they've been to NFT NYC. They hosted a Decentraland meetup in Chicago back in was it September? And so just through reaching out to the community, having events, having activations in real life and in the metaverse. They've got weekly DJ events hosted by CJ Trax and Serena Ellis. So they reach out and they listen directly to the community, and it's through us and through our involvement that they've been able to start and grow their brand. So CJ, you asked, like, how does somebody get started? How does somebody make money? It's think about web 1.0 or even web 0.5. I mean, I've been on the internet since 1993, and in the early days, people were still trying to figure out exactly how to make money. But because of the open source nature of Decentraland, literally anybody can come in and get set up. You can either rent land, you can purchase your name, you can purchase land. We've had some fashion brands come in during Metaverse Fashion Week. About a year ago, in March of 2022, we had a few fashion brands came in and make peanut butter. Help me out. There was somebody that made $1 million purchase of an estate in Decentraland. So that's multiple parcels.
Was it Plain Plaza?
I don't remember, but Peanut Butter's got his hand up, so I'll pass it off to Peanut Butter.
I remember who you're talking about, but I can't remember the name of that land sale off the top of my head. But I do remember who sold the land. But yeah, no, I just had a few thoughts to add on the question of brands participating in the metaverse, and one of the aspects of it is Decentraland doesn't necessarily need these brands to be in the metaverse to do what Decentraland does. To be honest with you, I'd rather have another Canessa or another Scott before I had another XYZ brand that was looking to do some kind of installation, because what the value that these community members add into the space is uncomparable to somebody just looking to make a stamp in the metaverse. So there's a lot of brands that come in and they are looking to do just that. They're wanting to say, hey, look, we were in the metaverse. And then there's a lot of brands that come in and they really understand the values and the aspects and what Web3 can add to the space. So it's interesting to see, with some of the participation with brands and stuff like that, some of those dynamics. But yeah, that's one of the things that makes brands stick around whenever they come in and they realize that, that there's a community here, and that building in Web3 is a lot different than Web2, and the values that you could add are completely different. So that's definitely one thing that makes people stick around, is just, acknowledging some of those things. And Decentraland doesn't have, necessarily an agenda to collaborate with a lot of these brands to, sell product or anything like that. So yeah, it's a lot different partnership than probably a lot of brands are used to. So whenever they start collaborating, it's maybe a little bit out of their general wheelhouse. But that's definitely one of the things that I love to see, is whenever brands come in and they really understand the space, they connect with the community. As Vanessa mentioned, they figure out really how to build something separate than what some of their approaches have been in the past through Web2 activations.
That's incredible. And sorry again, Mary, I'll just drop one more and then I'll pass it back to you for your question. Considering community is, the pillar, I think, that really drives you, as well as your innovation. I mean, obviously that goes hand in hand, but what are any ways that the community can incentivize themselves or benefit from maybe acting as almost like a rolling sales crew for you? I mean, I have that background in business development prior to coming into crypto. And what I will say is there's no better representative than somebody who is passionate and knows the brand from the inside out. So do you guys have any programs or initiatives to get people essentially reaching out or trying to onboard new brands into your community?
Yeah, absolutely. There's, like Canessa mentioned, her and Sinful do consistent Twitter spaces. There's a few other groups as well that are always just looking to, talk with new people that are looking to get in. Yeah, the community is really powerful as far as just looking to connect with, community members, just, people that are entering the space, as well as, brands. But go ahead, Scott.
Sorry, Peanut Butter. There's also the DAO that you mentioned, and I can't say enough about the DAO. DAO, for those of you that may not know, is decentralized autonomous organization, and that is the mechanism or the governance structure. Peanut Butter mentioned earlier that somebody who has an idea can apply for a grant through the DAO. But before everybody goes and starts tipping their hat and asking for money from the DAO, know that there is a very involved community. So I like to say that it's populated, owned, and operated. Decentraland is. It's populated, owned, and operated by you and me. So it's all of us who are involved daily in Decentraland. They get to decide, what grants are going to pass, and what different governance rules are going to happen. So if somebody has an idea, they're a developer, and as Kanessa was talking earlier, they don't have any land, they could come to CBD, get connected with somebody who is a landowner, get connected with somebody who's, we have a verified registry. So if somebody is an events planner, they could go and find all the different parts and pieces. It's just really interesting to do this in a decentralized fashion. There are some components of other virtual world projects out there that may be able to do one component or the other better than Decentraland, or it's just that they're there first. And that's mainly because it's coming from a centralized structure. But because we're trying to get a group of people that all have different interests, the one thing that they share is their love of Decentraland, to get them to go in the same direction. That's not really how it works. It's like everybody in the community decides, and then the foundation follows that lead. Now the foundation obviously has their own roadmap, but yeah, if somebody has an idea, I want to highlight Nikki Fuego. She's somebody who first started out as a wearable creator, and then she had an idea for a game. The game that now exists is the result of a lot of hard work, a lot of team members from the community coming together, devs, community managers. Dr. Drip is a community manager, the marketers, that's CK Bubbles. So these are all people from the community that assembled together, Voltron style, to create this team called Vroomway. They applied for, fought really hard to get the votes, or it's called VP. VP is how you get, votes passed. They applied for and received a $60,000 US dollar grant, and they worked really hard, and they maximized a 4x4 estate in Decentraland. They did some really innovative stuff from the development side, and now you can go to Vroomway in Decentraland and have an experience, 4 different gaming experiences in this play to earn game that came from the ground up, came from the community.
Incredible. I do want to say thank you guys so much for jumping into that. And Mary, I appreciate a couple back-to-back questions. I will pass it back to you to jump into anything. I have maybe 1 or 2 more on the back end, but I don't want to steal much of the time. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, of course you can have some questions, Cesar. Maurice, I mean. I actually found someone in the crowd. I don't know if they want to come up and say something, but invited them because they have been building on your side. So I'm not going to tell who yet. We'll see if they come up. I invited them to speak.
Nice.
What I was going to ask also is what's happening now in the future? I mean, people say it's a bear market. Some people say it's really not a bear market, but I mean, fact is that the prices are down a lot, and as you said earlier, mana is a little cheaper now than it has been before. So what is Decentraland as a team now doing? What are you building on? What can we expect for the future to come here? Is there something you can reveal for us?
Yeah, so the foundation, the Decentraland team, as well as the community, definitely doesn't stop building during these bear markets. Just if you're not familiar, the way that the foundation has set up as like a vesting contract that vests mana to the foundation every year for it was 10 years originally whenever it started, and the team within the foundation, the finance team, does a pretty good job at managing all that to make sure we have a good runway for the next few years. So as far as market standpoint affecting our ability to create, from the foundation standpoint, it's been fairly unaffected, which has been nice. From some of the community standpoints, which is also because of just like some general things going on in the DAO, looking to reform some of the grant structure and things like that. I believe grants might be temporarily paused. I need to get more of an update on that, but I know Vanessa could probably speak on that. But yeah, through these bear markets, really, the people that continue to build are the people that come out on top through the next bull markets. So I think a lot of people in the space have come to understand that, and kind of just like turn an eye to the prices and just continue to do whatever they believe in. And whenever the time comes, we'll all begin to shine again.
Great. And I see now we have visitors here now from Wisher Vodka, the, the project I found in the crowd. So if you want to say something about how come you decided to build or do something in Decentraland, that would be awesome.
Hey, yeah, thanks.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. My name's Boca in the community, but also one of the founding team members of Wisher Vodka. And big shout out to Scott, Canessa, Peanut Butter, and all the other community members in the chat. It's always great to see our squad rolling deep. I see Rustan, Mariana, Potradamus, a few others in the chat here. So yeah, thank you so much for inviting me up. And yeah, just I don't have too much time, but I saw the invite, so I thought I'd take the opportunity. But yeah, Wisher Vodka, I mean, it's something kind of unique. We just decided to launch our business through the metaverse. We were kind of at that tipping point where we were about to go to market. And I have a pretty extensive background in kind of VR, AR projects, just kind of like being around them over the course of the past 10 years or so. And so when I saw, Decentraland starting to take heed, I had purchased some land to start. And basically, some of our co-founders also purchased some land, and we were like, let's kind of mess around with this, kind of see what it is as like an investment. And me and the co-founders generally kind of like, talk about investment strategies anyways. And so when we had bought the land, we were like, maybe this is like our virtual distillery, because everyone, when we were first about to launch the project, was saying, hey, just go get a bar in one zip code in like one city and then build your community that way and then slowly grow from there. And our minds were kind of blown when we jumped into Decentraland. We're like, we can build a bar here and like actually launch our community here and reach way more people than we might be able to in just one city or one zip code. And so for us, that was the tipping moment of like 100% in, all in, we're doing this. And so we've been, as Scott said, throwing weekly parties, kind of like, mixing different communities in with Decentraland, and just really kind of promoting our new vodka to the market through Decentraland and other metaverses too. And so it's kind of been a fun ride, and that was kind of our original kind of ideation behind it.
Great. So I have one probably a weird question, but how do you drink and get drunk in the metaverse?
Exactly. So, I mean, it's kind of it's a fun question, right? I mean, for an odorless and tasteless vodka, anyways, like most vodkas, you can't really taste unless you're mixing it with something, right? So, I think for us, it was like, okay, let's use this as a brand promotional moment. And since we own the code on our land, we can do a bunch of fun stuff. Like we just launched a new cocktail last night called the Blood Moon Berry Elixir, and I made this giant spinning cocktail that you can go and click and get the recipe, and then you can actually go up to the bar, pour it yourself, and hold it and walk around and dance to our DJs just like you would in another bar. Yeah, you may not be able to like actually ingest it yet with virtual reality, but it's definitely something that is kind of fun to kind of play around with. And at the end of the day, you now know about the cocktail, you know about our brand, and there's always buttons on our land to go and buy the vodka digitally as well. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
So the avatar is not getting drunk.
Right. Maybe I'll include like a blurry filter.
Actually, Canessa. Canessa,
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
jump in here?
I think I have brought drunken avatars to the metaverse. There was a feature that was unveiled this year, and it's the feature of emotes. So it's making your avatar, you could dance, you could sit, you can, I don't know, like anything, any movement you could do in the real world. And I, with help from Rustan down in the crowd, we made a beer can, and then I made a beer drinking emote. So yes, you can, your avatar can pound beers nonstop in the metaverse as well as other things, which,
So
it sounds funny. It doesn't sound like a big, like there's something when you're just pounding beers, you kind of feel like a contact drunk feeling
so
after that. I
do,
don't,
do
I
you
don't know.
put in GPS on your avatar so you can find him then the next morning wherever he
Oh
went
gosh,
then?
we should. Yeah, they usually end up passed out in Genesis Plaza, like under a bench. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gone
As
into
a
my
real
computer
drunk
before.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, and found
Well,
my
there's even a
avatar
Wow.
still
passed out
partying.
emote.
Yes,
An
passed
emote
out.
that you can have to make your avatar look like they're passed out.
Okay.
I'd like to expand on the process that Canessa went through a bit to do that, just to give a little bit uh, more information to those who might not be familiar. But so in Decentraland, if you are able to create 3D models using a program like Blender, you could create models for different wearables, or you could do animations such as emotes like Canessa was talking about. You could create the files for them, and then what you could do is you could go to Decentraland and you could submit it to be introduced into the platform. So you could take your designs and you could introduce them into the platform. You have to have them submitted, and then they go through a curation process where users that are nominated into the curation committee are able to go in, review the items, and make sure that the movements work properly in the emotes, and make sure the wearables don't have any clipping or anything like that. And then once you get them approved through the curation crew, it uploads them into the marketplace, where then you could go and sell and monetize your creations, or mint them to yourself and to your friends, or whatever you want to do with them. So it's a really cool way for users to be able to take their creations into the metaverse.
Great. And how do you get your avatar then? Do you buy them as an NFT or do you just take
So everybody starts
one?
with just yeah. So whenever you load into Decentraland, you could either just join with a guest, and then your information will be saved locally to your computer cache. So if you create like a guest account and then you were to go play like a couple of like the play to earn games and get like um, some in-game rewards, and then you were to like clear your browser cache or use a different computer, your guest account would be it wouldn't be there anymore. But if you make like for example a MetaMask wallet, and then you go in and then you create an avatar connected to that wallet, anytime that you load back in connected with that wallet, it'll load your avatar. So if you have in-game experience at any of the different game locations, it'll load back in. Or if you have any digital assets like NFTs, wearables, emotes, anything like that, it'll display them then as well.
Okay. Does it cost anything or is it like different levels of avatars that you can purchase or buy or do?
So yeah, your basic avatar, everything is completely free to jump into Decentraland and start
Mm-hmm.
participating in the different events and things like that. But yeah, if you wanted to customize your avatar and get different wearables or emotes, like we were talking about, how Canessa went and made and introduced into the marketplace. Sometimes users will put items for free, and then sometimes they'll put them with a price tag where you could go in and then use mana on the marketplace generally to go in and purchase different wearables or remotes.
So I just always picture entering a metaverse like with an avatar and then go around, maybe shop some new clothes in some stores, avatar stores, or and some new glasses or something like. Is it like that or?
Yeah. So there are definitely some places where you can go shopping. There's stores that have like 3D models of like what the wearables look like in game, so you could see the representation of it. Um, yeah. There's definitely ways to do that. And then there's another thing that you could get called like it's kind of a form of a wearable, but it's like you could do whole avatar replacement. It's called skins. So if you wanted your to be something else other than like what the Decentraland avatar looks like, if you wanted to be like a hot dog or something like that, like it's something wacky or whatever, you could introduce that as a skin,
A hot
and
dog.
it will completely replace your avatar. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, maybe I want to be a hot dog someday. We'll see. A drunk hot dog. Well, thank you so much, Wisher Vodka, for coming up and telling us your story. I know you said you had to leave
Yeah,
or
I'll jump
something, but
down. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
did you have something else to add maybe before you leave? Go ahead.
No, I mean, I was just going to say that, thank you so much for hosting this space and just giving the spotlight to the Decentraland community, something I know we're all very proud of and building. And yeah, I think just getting the word out more is always great. And I definitely appreciate you guys just holding this space. And thank you for inviting me up. And yeah, please, everyone in the audience, check out Decentraland and join us.
Cool. Thank
So
you so much for coming.
I had a question kind of for the team here at Decentraland is now, do you have any plans to, or would this be something more brand independent in terms of being able to provide a distribution services by partnering with a bigger brand? So one of our community members was kind of curious, and they had sent me a question to ask if you guys have ever thought about having talks with a big distributor like Amazon or something like that to be able to provide some of these brands' wearable products, shipping services to, the community members in Decentraland to be able to purchase it? Or would that be similar to what Wisher mentioned, and it would be kind of handled brand specific in their own land through point of sale activities?
I wouldn't, excuse me. I wouldn't imagine that's something that the Decentraland Foundation would ever go about setting up. But what's interesting about Decentraland is how the community could manage and orchestrate some things like that. So potentially, if somebody wanted to get a grant through the DAO and set up, some kind of connection with the brand or however it would be, like it's not just up to the Decentraland main foundation team to create partnerships or external things like that. So I wouldn't imagine that would come from the Decentraland Foundation side, but potentially if the community was interested in that and it had enough people's interests, I would imagine there could be enough power to make something like that happen. But it would be interesting.
Good question.
Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, thank you. I was just gonna say, just a couple of examples. So yeah, Wishard will mail you your vodka. There was an activation, one of my favorite activations in Decentraland over the last few months, and that was the Snapple Bodega. It was called Bodega on the Blockchain. A really fun treasure hunt. So you walked through this virtual bodega and you had to find these items. And then once you got all the items, you were granted access to basically this nirvana. And you got to go talk to a three-eyed cat. I don't know. It was really bizarre. But not only did I get one of my favorite wearables from there, which is my flaming hair, but I was contacted by somebody at Snapple. And then they sent me, and I just received a T-shirt and a really rugged canvas tote bag. So I was able to get a thing in the virtual realm, and I was able to get, a thing that I can wear in the physical realm. And during the Metaverse Fashion Week, there's one of the partners called Boson Protocol, and they had Tommy Hilfiger. They had a virtual space, and you could purchase one of their hoodies. And I know a couple of people, maybe somebody in the audience here, actually purchased one of those. But you would get the virtual hoodie, and then they would send you the actual Tommy Hilfiger hoodie. Yeah, and there's other community members. I know Brandon Manis is somebody who's worked. It's called Phygital, and that's I think that's the term MetaWare Drip came up with. But basically, it's a physical and a digital item. So yeah, there are people. CK Bubbles Nail Art is another example of that. That they're just testing out and trying things like to have that blended experience. To bridge both the virtual and the physical.
Nice. So
Thank you very much.
yeah, thank you. Sorry, Maurice. Did you have another question, Maurice?
No, sorry, Mary. I just wanted to say thank you for the answer. That's all.
Okay, no worries. I wanted to ask, and I mean, there's another similar Decentraland out there that is that I would say maybe is your number one competitor, or do you work together with them even? I don't know, but I'm thinking of Sandbox, for instance. There might be others as well, but what makes you stand out amongst your competitors, or what do you like? What is the Decentraland speciality to people?
I would just have a slight modification of that statement, Mary, and just say
Okay.
that in Web3, I mean, there's definitely a friendly competition. It's still very new, right? I mean, this is still a
Uh-huh.
very new space, and Sandbox. I think you put it on the coin exchange or whatever, and yeah, you would see that from an investment standpoint as a competitor. However, I'd say a number of our community members look to being multi-world maxis like. Um, you know, I know Rustan has gone into Sandbox, and so has CK Bubbles. Uh, there are people here that spend time in Spatial and in Monaverse. I was just in Metaverse Miami, and there was a panel. There was Jake Steinerman and oh my gosh, I'm not gonna remember the name of the other guy, but there was Lastrom and yeah, there was a whole panel from all four different metaverses, right? Uh, and they were all talking, and I'd say it's more of a sense of collaboration because there are things that you can do in Monaverse that you can't do in Decentraland. There are things that you can do in Decentraland that you can't do in Spatial. And just by being collaborative and being creative and just cooperative, we can make all of our spaces go so much further because no one virtual world is going to have all of the answers. So yeah, at least for me, an active community member, I get to see more of the cooperation and the collaboration between these worlds.
I think this is a little bit what I was after because, as you say, it's such a new space, a new thing still. So it's much better to have collaborations between everyone who are already in here than try and compete, I think. So, lovely answer. I love it.
Yeah, and
Uh,
if it's okay, Mary, I'd love to
yeah,
play
sure.
off of that one as well because I mean the most recognizable name in the space, and it's not a crypto name, would be Meta, right? Facebook rebranded. I mean, they invested a ton of money. I mean, obviously, even them have found it a little bit more difficult to really get that adoption. I mean, their vision is a bit more immersive in terms of the full use case of the metaverse versus you. But how have you found kind of this is more so a perception question, but how have you found the perception of what Meta's been able to do and how the real world's perceived that has kind of trickled down to, projects like yourself, Sandbox, and these other metaverses in DeFi?
I'll go with that one. I'll try to go with that one. Like Meta, I think it has so much going against it. I mean, the reputation of these big, Web2 brands that harvest your data and everything. It never mind the fact that your avatar doesn't have legs, and we have legs in Decentraland, and we have a twerk, so that kind of puts us ahead. That might be actually what really sets us ahead. But I think that my answer is probably always going to come back to community. Because the community behind Decentraland is really something that I haven't seen too many times in life. Just the kind of the raw organic coming together of different minded people for a common good. And there was something that you kind of touched on with the last question that leads into that you were talking about like the business model and what did Decentraland, what was the plan of bringing in new brands? And I feel like it's worth talking about the kind of like the different, there's essentially three different tiers of Decentraland. There's the foundation, and then there's brands coming in, but then there's the users. A lot of them are the people down here in the audience. And you don't need anybody's permission to build in Decentraland. It's decentralized. If I wanted to put, a giant middle finger on my property, I could. If I wanted to work with brands, try to get them, I could. And so I think that that is one thing that we don't rely on the foundation to bring these big brands in. There's kind of consultant businesses that are working with, you know, big partnership. There's going to be some crazy big names coming in this year. And so looking at it like in a different way, that really it is on us to make this happen, whether it's, you know, an independent user, or if you're working for one of these big brands that are doing these huge activations, or if it's something like the foundation who might bring in a big celebrity for Pride Fest or the Metaverse Music Festival next year. But really, like, if you're in the audience listening and you're like, I don't know, like, I'm just a small fish in a big pond, there is room for you in Decentraland, because like really all of us that are up here, that's how we started. We started small. I never came in thinking, oh, I'm going to make money from selling emotes. I came in because I was going to make like some cool steampunk world, and here I am, you know, a couple years later, like learning things I've never learned before. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. The community really is, I think, our most valuable asset. I don't care about the price of mana. I care about how my friend is doing, because if they're not doing well, you know, I don't know. That's what built us forward.
Really
I
can
want to
tell
add,
how passionate you are about the community, Vanessa. So thank you. And sorry, Peanut Butter, go ahead.
oh no, all good, all good. I love what Vanessa said, but yeah, I wanted to add a little bit on that too before we moved on, and about your question with the competitiveness and all that. I think one thing that Decentraland has realized early on is um, Decentraland is not the metaverse. Like, the metaverse is much bigger than Decentraland. Decentraland is a metaverse, is part of the metaverse. You know, however you want to think about it in that aspect. So to try to draw a line with competitiveness whenever we're just a part of the bigger picture wouldn't be ideal. So to think of it from like a Web2 perspective, to zoom out a little bit. Say you're playing a game like Overwatch, that doesn't mean you're not going to be interested in playing something else like Valorant. So just because you're in Decentraland, there's like a lot of people in the community, like Vanessa mentioned, that are interested in participating in other spaces and going in and seeing what other metaverses have to offer, which is amazing. But something that Decentraland has realized, like I mentioned, and it's tried to offer is connection or interoperability between other spaces. Kind of one of the first steps leading into that that Decentraland has done is a feature called linked wearables, where communities with NFT projects, say Bored Apes, for example, or somebody with a collection of wearables from Sandbox or Monoverse or something like that, could go into the Decentraland DAO and submit for their NFT collection from another space to be introduced into Decentraland as a representative of a wearable. So say you own, I'll use Bored Apes as this example just because everybody's familiar. Say you own a Bored Ape, and then instead of like the Bored Ape sending a whole bunch of different wearables to all of their holders, which they could then go in and use in Decentraland, they could add value to that NFT by making it a linked wearable in Decentraland. So if the Bored Ape holder went into Decentraland, that NFT would then represent itself as a wearable. So that empowers lots of people outside of the space to use their NFTs to add value as a representative into Decentraland. So that's definitely just one of the first steps that Decentraland has looked into and has taken early to try to bridge the gap between some other spaces. Because I would love to take a lot of the wearables that I've been DJing and collecting over the past couple years, and go be my Wonderbot robot in like Monoverse or something like that. Like that would totally be sold on going to other places if I could like be like what some of my life savings have been put into other spaces.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And again, I will say the one common theme that I get from everybody here, core team or community manager, builder, is the passion and the commitment to the community, right? And as somebody, I do spend a little bit more time, with our channel and what we do with, what people would consider kind of more degen based plays, although, we have been ambassadors for multi-billion-dollar projects. I spend more time with recently launched projects and stuff in the newer space. So DAOs to me, and DAOs in, my area of expertise, don't have the best reputation. And it's really nice to see the kind of transparency and that theme of what a DAO was meant to stand for when first brought up has held true here in Decentraland. So I don't want to steal again. I want to pass it back to Mary, but would you be able to just touch on again how you've been able to actually use a DAO successfully? I don't want you to give away your secrets, but it is a lot more difficult than people may actually think.
I think that like we're a work in progress. So I would say, hopefully we're successful. Hopefully we're successful a year from now, 5 years from now. I think that the DAO that we have has a lot of passionate people that are looking at each proposal carefully, trying to do the best, vote in the best interest of the organization. I think I think like everything, we're still a work in progress and we have a lot of work to do. And that's, I think, why, we're looking closely at how our DAO is running, how it's going to be sustainable 10 years from now. Personally, once I realized the absolute implications of the DAO, not just for Decentraland, but worldwide, like the first time in history that we humans have democratized the decision-making process, it just hit me that this is not about an internet Web3 degen social media platform. This is huge. And so I think that the people that are in the DAO that are active and having these important conversations, I think that that's kind of what's driving it forward. And I know that it doesn't matter if you are voting with a 100,000 VP or one VP, your voice really in the DAO is your tool. And I know Scott's one of the best people for looking at each proposal carefully, bringing up important points. And like a lot of times, like I might miss something or somebody else might miss something. And so when they point it out, it's like, oh yeah, like the more minds we have looking at this and kind of picking it apart, the better.
Absolutely. Scott has his hand up. I think he wants to have something to say about this too.
Yeah, I just wanted to first and foremost give a shout out to our developer team on the foundation, who's been working really hard. Specifically, I mean, all of them have. I just can't say enough about the developers. But specifically the ones that are in charge of the DApp or the decentralized apps for governance. I know that some of my friends out there in the Web3 space have come to Decentraland and looked at our governance DApp with envy. So if you go to governance.decentraland.org and you just check it out, if I look at my profile on there right now, I can see a lot of things. I mean, it's just a really good heads-up display. And the reason why this is so robust is because of the developers, but it's also because of the community members and the people who serve on DAO committees that are, we're alpha angels. Somebody who may be out in the crowd right now likes to say, sharpen each other, iron sharpens iron. But yeah, I'm just looking here at the DApp and it shows my consolidated voting power. It shows what voting power I have, how much has been delegated to me. If I want to, I can go to this DApp and I can delegate my voting power. My voting power comes from owning my name. So Mary, you were asking if you could, purchase Mary. And I'm not sure if I sent it to the right account, but Mary is already taken. But there's a lot of other versions of Mary. Shout out to Mariana out there in the crowd. But yeah, if you have a different version of Mary, you could purchase that. And that 100 mana gives you 100 voting power in the Decentraland DAO. If you've got just regular L2 mana, that also gives you voting power. And to pass a proposal, for like, what is it? I think it's like a tier 1 or tier 2. It's like 3,000 US dollars given out in stable coin or given out in mana. And you have to have a specific VP threshold from the community to be able to be awarded that. So there's no gatekeeper, right? It's everybody in the community. If they agree, like the Vroomway project, for 60,000, US dollars, for their project. I think they had to get 4 million VP. But yeah, I can also go to this DApp and I can see my participation rate over the last 30 days, what my, if I look at somebody else, I can see how much of a percentage of a match I am aligned with that other person. I can see what my outcome is. Have I voted on proposals that have passed? I can look at the previous proposals that I voted on, the ones that I've proposed. I can see who's delegated to me. I can see who's I'm delegating to. And, this is all super useful data to have at my fingertips. So I don't have to spend an hour or 2 hours at a time combing through the blockchain. We talk about DYOR, do your own research. And having this tool just empowers me. It gives me the data at the point of decision so that I can do my own research. It's not going to take an incredible time commitment, because I try to comment on proposals. If I'm going to vote yes or I'm going to vote no, I try to give reasons for that, because the people that are coming forward and they're requesting money from the DAO, they are also committed community members, and they'd like to be able to, it's not that they're in it for a cash grab. At least that's my optimistic view of it. Others may have a different view, but they're coming to build out this community and provide a service or provide an activation or to provide a core development that can extend Decentraland farther. I'll just highlight Fran Tufro, who's working on a retro 2D client for Decentraland. And going through that process, it's been really difficult. But Fran and his group of programmers, they work on 2D side-scrolling games. He's a really good person to head that. It's not through the foundation. It's somebody from the community. It's like, hey, we want to have multiple clients. And because Decentraland is this open source project, Mary, you or Maurice or anybody could go into the GitHub repository and fork Decentraland, right? It's open source. If you see something that you don't like, or you see something that you want that's not there, I mean, that's the open source mindset. Get your hands dirty, get under the hood, and make it happen.
Did you say, Scott, that if I maybe I come up with a really good suggestion and I hand it over to the team or the DAO for a vote, and then if it goes through, I get a reward then? Or did I understand that?
Absolutely. So Mary, if you have an idea project, you write a proposal, you put it forth, you go to governance.decentraland.org, you go to the proposals section, you put forth a proposal. In there, you have to, give a timeline. It's recommended that you detail who your team is, who's going to work on it, what your deliverables are. You have to be pretty specific, because if you're not, then everybody's going to vote no for it. But if you provide that information and people like the idea, and you get 4 million VP that votes for it, you could get $40,000 in stablecoin or in mana from the DAO and begin to work on your project.
So what if I only have the idea but not the team? Can that
okay. So yeah, is there like?
So you could suggest ideas. You could suggest ideas that could be implemented by the team as well. Say if you wanted a new feature added or something like that you couldn't necessarily develop, you could be like, hey, I want to see this feature added into the platform. With the foundation be able to build this, and then people will vote on it if they also want to see that feature added, if it gets the votes, if it's something that could actually be done at that point, and the team could go about implementing it. So things could be voted on and passed and built without necessarily your petition to build it. It's just different aspects. If you're looking to build like a game or an experience, or if you have an idea and you're just looking to get it passed where you could contribute your ideas to help develop the space.
That's interesting. Well, I see we have a few more people up here now that wanted to ask questions, I think. Time flies. We're having so much fun, and I feel maybe Maurice has even more questions also. Just asking you guys again, can you stay on for a few more questions from the audience here? We have Rustan and Apesia up here also with each one questions, I think.
Yeah.
Good.
Hi,
Thumbs up
hi,
from
Mary.
me.
Hi, Caesars. Thanks for having me up. I just wanted to
Hi,
kind of
Rustan.
I wanted to speak to the audience a little bit who maybe hasn't explored Decentraland, and I want to just talk about my experience. I started in Web3 in March 2021, like many people, onboarded by NFTs, and I think pretty much everyone in here must have some connection to NFTs for sure, and can all understand what it's like to explain NFTs to a normie and how they just don't understand what the hell you're talking about, you know. And there's actually a similarity between NFT users talking to normies and metaverse users talking to NFT users who haven't explored the metaverse yet. It's like very, very similar, and it's kind of like it's frustrating sometimes because you see all this potential that people are missing out on, and you really want them to experience it for themselves, but they are unwilling for whatever reason in their mind that's clouding their judgment, unwilling to take that step, right? And and as you've heard by so many people, I mean, it's like there was so many times I wanted to chime in with some of these topics because it's just all super exciting. But really, the number one feature is community. I mean, the community in Decentraland is unparalleled. It's really exciting and mind-blowing, and it reminds me of when in I think 2011 or 2012 when Egypt overthrew their government using Facebook. It was like the power of people over corporations and money, really, you know. And in Decentraland, the community, the users, they have unbelievable power, and they're using it in the most selfless ways, and exciting and fun. And what I just want to point that out, and I really encourage anyone who hasn't explored to take the time to explore, and don't let whatever hurdles, whether it's lag or just fear or whatever, don't let anything stop you from exploring. Like, just imagine, like, remember when you sold your first NFT or you accepted an offer or something, and then you learned about a gas transaction and how much money you lost with the gas transaction. That's something that would really turn you off, you know, with NFTs. But you still sat through it and learned more and continued producing whatever NFT you were selling. And what's sad to me now is, like, I'm hearing, like, in a lot of spaces outside of the metaverse, it's just like NFT spaces. It's the same thing that I was hearing back in June 2021. You know, there's a lot of people shilling, and there's, you know, it's just kind of the same dialogue, and all these people are missing out on this amazing opportunity that's happening right now, and I just really want everybody to go for it.
Thank you so much, Rustan, for coming up and telling about your story and Decentraland. We also have Apesian. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Did you have a question? Oops, I think we lost him. So I'm giving it over to you, Maurice. Do you have any more?
Yeah, no, it's great
questions?
to hear from Rooston. And again, I love hearing from people with the experience within the metaverse itself, but not just that, who understand that topic you brought up about the NFTs versus the metaverse, and you know, NFTs to also, I have to say, I love the term normies. It was something that somebody said 8 months ago at an AMA, and I loved it. I've kind of co-opted it a bit myself, so I love how you kind of have that similar outlook yourself. But you're very accurate in saying that, you know, a lot of people who got into NFTs and made money on NFTs initially made money on the graphic, the visual NFTs, right? And they really haven't gone that next step further and explored the functionality of them. So once people do really understand, and I mean, it's going to take time. Adoption still is quite low. I think, you know, 5 to 7% of the population's in DeFi or crypto. So, you know, you have a lot of room to grow, but positioning wise and conversationally, how do you get that big group of people who, again, would be a great user base for you on the NFT side to start to understand the value or the use cases outside of just, you know, a monetary value?
Yeah, definitely. I have the luxury of being onboarded to Decentraland by one of my collectors, and he invited me to participate in a gallery show, and I had that basic idea of the metaverse. I was like, it's kind of like a video game. Okay, I'm a little too old for video games, but whatever. I'm going to be a yes man because that's how I was with NFTs. No matter how crazy something sounded, I'm going to do what lies in front of me. So I did it, and like within minutes, I was blown away by the potential. I completely understood it, but also at the same time, I was like with NFTs, I wasn't one of those people that was like, I don't get it. There's no material item. It's just a picture. It's just a JPEG, right? I wasn't one of those people. I understood it immediately and dove in. And so once I had that epiphany about the metaverse, as soon as I achieved a certain amount of profits in NFT sales, I like immediately bought land without hesitation. And it was like one of the biggest purchases in my life. The cost was pretty high, and I didn't hesitate one bit. And it was kind of crazy when in retrospect. But what I found is like all these people up here in the speakers, if you follow them, they are more than ready and willing to help anybody be onboarded into Decentraland. And they will hold your hand the way that I was. I find that the hard thing for most people is like they explore Decentraland alone and they don't know exactly where to go. They don't know how everything works or whatever, So when you have somebody there that you can connect with, they're going to take care of you and they're going to show you the coolest things in the world. And so it's funny because like as also an NFT artist, I'm an NFT collector and I have a lot of collections. And I actually won a CloneX in Decentraland. I was given a CloneX for free by playing a game in Decentraland. And so I became part of the CloneX community. And I found out in their community, they're not super aware of Decentraland either. They're a little behind in that aspect. And so like tomorrow, for example, I'm holding a CloneX party that's inviting all the CloneX users to come see what Decentraland is capable of. And I'm pretty confident those that will show up will see the potential. And so it's just crazy the things you can do for free, basically, as a user in Decentraland.
Clonex gang.
Awesome. Thank you, Rustan.
Thanks.
I don't know what
Thanks,
the
Rustan.
CloneX is, but it sounded like someone was very surprised and happy about that from the team. So it must be good. Sorry, Maurice, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I appreciate Rustan kind of articulating that. And one of the questions that I was hoping to get in earlier, and it was playing off of what you asked with regards to the idea, but maybe not the resources, is, I have one question about incubation with regards to projects or communities looking to come into Decentraland and what resources you maybe provide. But on what Rustan was saying, it's so accurate, right? A lot of times, your experience is potentially hindered if you go in and about it by yourself. So do you have any currently in place program like a guided tour where somebody who's a new user could go in and sign up for, similar to like when you're on vacation and you want to go check out the sites or maybe get information from the locals, you could sign up and register for your first guided Decentraland tour, and you could have members of the community, members of the team go in there and walk around groups and show them how to use and function better to improve that experience. So again, sorry, it's a bit of a loaded question. There's one side on the project with the incubation, and then on the other side with the kind of the guided tour experience for users.
Yeah, we have that. I mean, Scott right here in the speaker crowd, it's called ABC Tours. His username is Oddjob. He's the A in ABC. Billy T Coin is the B, and CK Bubbles is the C. But take it away, Scott.
Sorry, I was just as you were saying that, Rustan, I was tweeting to Maurice, to your Caesar account. I'm like, I'd love to give you a tour. Yeah, it's something that I really enjoy every single Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Billy's in Melbourne, Australia. CK's on the East Coast, and I'm in the Midwest. And yeah, every week we have, between 20 and 40 people that just come and join us as we wander around Decentraland. We look for new and interesting things. So we've gone to, builds that were deployed back in 2020, when it first opened up. We go to builds that are, brand new, that just deployed, 2 or 3 days prior to that, either developments, individual developments. I don't know if Dogman is out there, but just developers in the community. I saw Isle out there earlier, who'll try new things, and yeah, we just go and check it out. And it's funny because in Decentraland, one of the first things we do is we try to climb up on stuff, right? To see if it's got colliders, to see if we can climb up high and look for hidden passages, look for little trinkets or whatever that there might be there for a treasure hunt or whatever. So I just want to open up an invitation to both of you, to both of our hosts here. I'd love to take you around Decentraland. I'd love to answer your questions. There's any number
That would
of
be
dedicated
amazing.
community members. Yeah, what's that?
I will be there next Monday. You said 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. I know that's a little late for you, Mary, but
Oh, that's in the middle of the night, huh?
it's like 3 a.m. for you, I think. But I mean, for me, I'm in Eastern Standard Time, so that's perfect. I mean, I'm normally up till 3 a.m. anyways. I am a bit of an odd duck. I was up till 4:30 in the morning last night because I was so excited and getting some prep in. And I was really, really excited for this AMA. So definitely I would love to be there, and I'll be sure to share that announcement with my community, so that everybody as well can jump in and check out some of the functionality and just get walked through. And I think once that happens, it's a lot less threatening, or it's a lot less kind of overbearing pressure to go in and figure out everything yourself. Because I know me personally, I'm not the biggest computer guy. I would probably be lost, and again, potentially get frustrated. And you want to make sure that user experience is as seamless as possible.
I just want to say the same, Maurice. I mean, it can be like a hurdle for someone to do the start, to do all the research and maybe watching YouTube's videos or something, or try to find someone who help you in there. So that's amazing that you have that people can join. It's a stupid time though, but
Well, I will say, Mary, that I just this last week I took some of our friends, Idolina and M Kenji. I saw M Kenji out there, who are in Tokyo or in Japan, and I gave a special tour just for them. So yeah, that would be, I think, 12 p.m. UTC time. But yeah, I did that on Tuesday. It's something that ABC Decentraland is considering doing. So if you wanted your own specialized tour, I'd happily arrange that for you.
And where does this happen? Is that on the web page then, or do you go on some? Because you
so
can't
we'll
really show
announce it.
pictures in here, right? You can.
Yeah. So what? We'll do a Twitch stream.
Okay.
We'll have.
Do you have potentially, Scott, a link to the Twitch where you do these tours that you could send to me or tweet about potentially now? And then what I'll do is I'll pin that tweet up into the Jumbotron there above, so all the listeners and everybody in the space today can just kind of set that reminder for themselves. And then if they do have some time, or maybe looking to jump in and see some of your new features, they could always set those reminders and follow along.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna. Do you want me to send it to you in a DM, Caesar, or how do you want me to?
If you want to just even throw a tweet out on your main handle, or if there's a tweet out there that you would just be able to just tag me in, so I could just kind of quickly send that to the Jumbotron, that would be terrific.
Yeah, I'll do that. And I just wanted to say one other thing. Rustan, you reminded me of this, and there's a community member who was actually just announced as this coming Metaverse Fashion Week. So Metaverse Fashion Week 2023, it's going to be starting March 28th. Decentraland Foundation just announced the first supermodel, and that's Tang Poco. But Tang Poco, friend of mine, she loves to say the metaverse is more fun with friends. And Mary, what you were saying is, yes, it can definitely be daunting, but if you've got somebody there, even if the other person you're with doesn't know, doesn't know hardly anything about Decentraland, just having a person there to, go through that experience together. You have different exceptionalities than I do, Mary. So you may see and wonder about the experience differently, and you may come into some discovery and be like, oh, if you press the I key, it opens up this thing called the backpack, and I can now change my outfit. I thought I could just specify my avatar when I first logged in, but no, you can always change your avatar. But it's through that co-discovery with your friend. The metaverse is more fun with friends. So yeah, I'll step down and I'll get that link to you, Caesar.
That sounds great. I mean, I'll gather some friends and enter the metaverse, and then you can take us there, Scott, but not in the middle of the night. Maybe this time is better. For instance, we'll see. We'll keep in touch.
We'll find a better time for you. Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. We'll bring Maurice with us too. Maybe he has already
Yeah, I'll
found
come for a
some.
second tour for sure. I mean, for me, this space was so incredible because I love this world and this landscape because of the education and the learning aspect. As I find, on Twitter and with projects such as yourself. Although yes, I know the name. I know what the project stands for. I've followed it. I haven't deep dived it as I would if I was interviewing you guys. So again, it's so exciting for ourselves and our community just to get this insight to somebody with a name like you guys have at Decentraland. So I know I'll be definitely letting everyone know and making sure people jump in for those tours that you offer, because that firsthand insight is, it's invaluable, I always say, and you'll probably pick up some really good little tidbits of education along the way. So
I think that this is a really good way to go towards mass adoption also, and towards getting new users and educate people about this space, Scott. So very good. Well done. Do you have any more tricks that you do, like to get people in there?
I mean, there's what Peanut Butter alluded to earlier, and that's wearables, and Rustan also talked about that, where he got the CloneX. One of our beloved DJs, CJ Trax, he went to Mountain Dew activation, and they streamed some, I don't know, World Series of video games. I'm not a video gamer myself, but I know CJ Trax is. He went and he did some contest in there, and he won a high-end gaming system just by going to this activation through Mountain Dew. Sorry, my dog is having a little freak out here.
Time to go out, master. Yeah.
There's a bunch of games that you can play right now, especially they just yesterday dropped their Christmas scene, and so there's these fun little games you play, and you'll automatically win, or you'll be gifted wearables that are cool. There's some cool little wearables, they're NFTs that you could flip and resell, and there's a lot of that in Decentraland, and it's a fun little experience.
Cool.
I guess, did we cover off kind of what the average price right now is for somebody who's maybe in there holding mana, holding your NFTs, or just looking to get involved for the first time? What's kind of the average price points right now somebody could expect when looking to buy or resell some of those wearables? And one step further, obviously the land is a big one that's obviously highly sought after on the secondary market.
Well, it's super accessible. It goes across the board, the full spectrum, and it's just like NFTs, where you could buy an NFT for 11 cents or for $11,000, right? So the same thing exists in the metaverse in Decentraland, but some what was I going to say? The super extreme value that I've personally found regarding NFTs in the metaverse, especially wearables, is a wearable NFT is much easier to sell and flip than a regular art NFT, because you're also selling the vanity of the buyer. So you make something cool and they want to look that cool, so they buy it. Whereas like an art NFT is like only something you can sort of display and show off. But basically, I always recommend anyone new coming into Decentraland that is actually has the mind of wanting to stick around. Like just get 100 mana and explore with that. You don't even need to have 100 mana. You could literally go do the Christmas thing, get a few wearables, and then flip them for like 50 cents to $1 and get started that way and build yourself up. But to me, like 100 mana, you could buy a few wearables that make you stand out a certain way in your own personalized way, and you're good to go. And if you have way more than that, you just right off the bat, you're gonna have a lot more fun.
Cool. I see that Apesian is back. Did you have a question, Apesian? Go ahead.
Hey, everyone, it's
Hey.
good to be here. Yeah, I just want to say, yeah, it's good to like engage with y'all. I am in Asia, so it's pretty late here, and sometimes with some of these spaces, on US time, it's a bit difficult for people in Asia to engage. So appreciate to be here with all of y'all. And like shout out to some of you guys. We met in Miami, but just by way of introducing myself and a little bit of referencing what Rustan was talking earlier. I kind of like am the founder of Asiaverse, and we're kind of like building a lot of things in Decentraland, focusing on the Asia side of things. So for many years now, I've been very focused on bridging different cultures all over Asia. I myself, I've lived in many different countries in Asia. And when I first learned about Decentraland early last year, like Rustan, right, I was like so excited, and immediately I bought a lot of land because I wanted to be able to use Decentraland to as a platform, decentralized platform where anyone in the world could participate, right? Including parts of Asia where tend to be a bit difficult to engage with. But with Decentraland, I'm very excited to be able to bring all of Asia together and to be able to showcase what Asia has to offer, right, to the Western audiences as well. We've been kind of doing a lot in Decentraland, focusing on bringing different countries together. One of our recent ones, where we did participated in the Decentraland Art Week. We had architects from Indonesia, from Philippines, from Japan, and each of them were able to reference their culture, architectural buildings from their country to create interesting buildings and experiences. And each country were able to bring in community members from their country as well, so there's a bit of cross promotion too. So just very excited to be able to do something like this through Decentraland. And just so excited to be able to just showcase what's happening on the Asia side of things to everyone. So yeah, it's good to be here, and hope to be able to do a lot more things down the road as well.
Thank you, Apesian. Good input.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And yes,
Great
we
to
have
hear.
been here almost 2 hours now. Maurice, did you did you have another question?
Honestly,
Time to
I've
wrap
just
it up
been
soon.
really enjoying the discussion, and I did pin up for you there, Scott, as well, the adventuring, the tours that you guys offer on the ABC Decentraland account. So again, for anybody who wants to check that out, maybe set themselves a reminder if you haven't already, and go through the team with a guided tour. I know I'm going to be stopping by. If they're having one this upcoming Monday, I'll be there. Typically, I don't do AMAs that late, so it should be fun. So I'll be sure to drop some announcements around that as well.
Great. Yeah.
I just wanted to talk to something that Apesian mentioned, and that's just reaching out to multiple communities. A lot of people that are here now are, US centric. However, there's a community member. His name is Clark Crypto. He's got a deployment in Decentraland. It's a winter wonderland. He's based in Singapore. We've got a community member. His name is Mustafa, and oh gosh, Taxir, Taxir is their organization, and they present Decentraland to the Muslim community of the world. We have people from China. There's DigiFun and Yaping.
Marcos Naide.
Marcos Naide, thank you. Yes, there's Brazil. I mean, I could keep going on and on. There's so many different communities that are coming into Decentraland either through just individuals coming in and checking it out, through creating activations, through rented land. There's people that are coming in and purchasing land. Now with DCL Worlds, there's people that are ramping those up. So multiple avenues for different communities to come in. There's a large Ukrainian community in Decentraland. Again, shout out to Mariana. Yeah, so there's multiple ways. Like I mentioned, just this past Tuesday, I gave a tour to Idolina and to Kay over at Fabricant for their community in Japan. So yes, I'm serious, Mary. I'll work with my colleagues Billy and CK to get us a tour for you that's better timed for people that are on the other side of the Atlantic or on the other side of the
European
world.
time, yeah, that's perfect.
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Yes.
Very nice. Looking forward to that. So it was really a pleasure hosting you guys, and I'm so happy for everyone who jumped up here to speak and talk a little bit about your experience also in Decentraland. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah,
And
so, sorry,
Maurice,
can I maybe chime in a little bit more?
okay.
Yeah, so just wanted to also mention that just these few days we also participated in the DAO submitting like a grant proposal with respect to what we're doing with Asiaverse, and also just wanted to shout out to Kanessa for the comments and questions with our proposal. And I think that is very much appreciated. Just referencing what Scott mentioned earlier, right, in terms of how like it's important for people to engage in like a back and forth discussion with some of these proposals. Like just really appreciate how Kanessa has been engaging with it. I mean, there were a couple of people who voted without necessarily engaging, but like I do hope to be able to respond to some of them if needed, like especially those who voted negative, right? Just need to understand better like what are their concerns, that kind of thing. But sometimes I think it's if you don't really have the communication path to these people, you don't even know how to open the conversation channels, right? And I think that's maybe a little bit on the frustrating side. So like respect to what like how Kanessa has been like engaging, I just really appreciate that. And also just shout out to Portradamus as well, who's been who voted in support of our proposal as well. So like it's just a thought, right? Not sure how I can approach this, but if we can like figure out a way to kind of like help like proposal like creators to like engage more with like the voters, I think that could be really helpful, rather than just having the voters vote without necessarily understanding how they vote.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Apsian. I think Kanessa said earlier also that she has a a space every week, right, Canessa, that you can come in and talk?
Yeah, we do. We have my co-host and I, Simple Meat Sticks. We host Decentraland Community Building every Wednesday. We talk usually. We can talk for 3 hours. Sometimes it's 5 and 6 hours because there's a lot of stuff that comes up, and it's
Wow.
really a cool time to see how much, it's completely community led. And so sometimes, I mean, we might talk for an hour because if nobody has anything, then our work is done. But usually people have quite a bit. And APCN, we also from that have the Community Building Decentraland Discord. And so what you're saying about, connecting with the voters and getting feedback, that's an issue that, pretty much everybody that writes a grant proposal is going to face that same issue. And so we have channels in there that you can bring your proposal before you're ready to submit it to the public, put it there, get feedback, because a lot of the, there's like some basic fundamentals that, if somebody doesn't have like a clear breakdown of how the money's going to get spent, a lot of us, that's an instant no. And so just even having like knowing some of these simple things can really help, teams have success in the DAO. Not saying that that's, like a foolproof way to do it, but I think that getting connected with the community, I think a lot of times, people want to know who is the face behind the project. And if it's somebody that we don't recognize, it's, it's like that, just knowing reputation of somebody, like whether they're going to complete the project, that's a big deal. Like we say a lot, like reputation in Web3 is everything, right? Because everything's on the blockchain, it's transparent. And so once, if you just come in and get to know people, but in a genuine manner, not also, doing it because you got a grant coming up. Like a lot of times we'll see activity from people right before they submit a grant. And then you're like, oh, darn, I wish you were actually just wanting to like hang out and stuff. But that would be my suggestion, is just get connected with the community.
And where is this, Canessa, again? Where can people reach you and talk?
So the Twitter space is right here on Twitter every Wednesday, 9:00 PST, 12:00 Eastern time. And then from that, we also have the Community Building Decentraland Discord. And if you go to my pinned tweet, I don't know if you guys can pin that up top, but you can pin the event link to that. And we've been doing that, lost track of how many weeks, but quite a while now.
Okay, very good.
And that goes for if people have questions, anything in the Decentraland community. Pretty much everything is, on the floor to talk about. And if it's a question one person has, it's probably a question a lot of people have. And usually around the 3-hour mark is when our genius ideas start coming up. And that's when we we really get the creative juices flowing.
Yes, very good. So, actually, we have been here 2 hours. It has been a blast and very fun and very educational. And I also wanted to say that it is only educational purpose here and not financial advice. So do your own research, guys. But with that said, I would like to give the floor to all three of you for some closing statements. And thank you so much for coming and providing your knowledge about Decentraland for us in here in Crypto Miners.
Yeah, I just want to say you jumped into Decentraland, check out all of the amazing communities that are in the space. Like Canessa and Avdop have been explaining, there's so many people that are just always available, looking forward to make new connections, make new friends, new partnerships, and build in the space. So it's very welcoming. I hope to see some of you there.
I just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you so much, Mary and Maurice. Thank you for reaching out to me and to my colleagues. Super passionate about Decentraland. I'd love to take anybody here that's interested and to show you around, to spend time with you. I'm a licensed teacher here in the state of Minnesota, and just warms my heart to hear what Canessa was saying about if one person has a question, it's probably a question everybody has. So definitely come with your questions. I'd love to answer them. And yeah, just go exploring together. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna do that. Me and Maurice, and we're coming with a bunch of people, each one of us, right, Maurice?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if Canessa wanted to jump in as well too to close things out.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think no matter who you are or what your project is, there's a place for you in Decentraland. You know, we have live. We didn't even talk about the live music, the DJs, and we didn't talk about ice poker, about passive income, guild ownership. Like, there's 2 hours is not enough to talk about Decentraland. But I would just suggest to everybody, you know, your place is here. Like, it might not even be invented yet, but it is here. So if you're selling NFTs or hoping to make money or hoping to find a creative outlet, Decentraland pretty much is the platform. It's like a blank canvas. And so, yeah, jump in, and growth is happening so fast. We like to say a day in the metaverse is like a week in the real world, because things are just happening so fast. Growth is happening. But yeah, please, you know, come come for the community, or come for the, you know, your business, stay for the community. And please, if there's any questions, reach out. I think everybody here in the speaker panel is happy to help. And if you do go on a tour, I like to send out free wearables so that you can glow, because glowing and being stylish is pretty important. So yeah, hit me up if you're in world and you need some free wearables. And thank you for giving us this space.
Great. And I actually have one last question, or two even. So where do you see Decentraland in like 3 to 5 years, if your vision about it? How many people knows about Decentraland, and where are we in the space in 5 years? Just quick, everyone.
Oh, I'm super excited. Some other projects that are going on right now. We've got VR. So there's a group of people that are working in VR for the Quest 2 and for desktop VR. So that will certainly be an aspect. I'm excited to see what happens with DCL Worlds, making it very accessible to developers and newcomers. I like to say letting a million flowers bloom. So just creating a space that everybody can jump in and just experiment and make something of it. So I'm really looking forward to see just a field of wildflowers blooming all over the place that are DCL worlds that, perhaps you, Mary, or you, Maurice, or one of the listeners out here will decide to purchase their Decentraland name or a Decentraland name and make a build and show it as a proof of concept to get something passed through the DAO and have it be the next play to earn experience in Decentraland. Anything is possible.
Great. Anyone else comment on that?
I think I want to see Decentraland as we don't have to be the fanciest, the best graphics, anything like that. Like, I want us to see us to be the most adaptable metaverse, because I think that it's not about survival of the fittest. It's about survival of those who can adapt. And so I think Decentraland will never be done growing. There's ideas coming that are just mind blowing. Rustan has such an amazing idea that hopefully someday we'll be able to see. So I think that, like, we don't even know where this is leading. It's like getting on a train and we don't know where we're going to end up, but I'm so excited to be here. Like, I could just talk for hours, and I think we all could, and that's proof that we just believe in it so much.
You have to come back then. We have to do this again later. Peanut, what's your thought about the future?
Yeah, I agree with everything they both just said. I just hope for the next 5 years to come that Decentraland helps create the path and lead the way in Web3 development, what the space could look like, and what's able to be done, and help grow and connect with other spaces, and really become interoperable and just like I hope to see the whole space grow, and Decentraland to be able to be more established with other metaverses and partners in the space to see an adaptive metaverse that's interoperable and bigger than any of us could think we could imagine right now. So I think the space is going to be amazing.
Very good. So my last question is if you guys like pizza with pineapple or not. I wanted to say peanuts.
I actually have some. Yeah, I take my pizza with peanut butter only. No, I do. I got a pineapple pizza and ham, Hawaiian pizza left over from the other day, actually, in the fridge.
Wow, that's the first. We never had anyone with a pineapple pizza on here before. Great.
In stock, yeah.
What about you, Canessa? Do you like pineapple on pizza?
I do. My first job was at a pizza store. And so, I'd like eat pizza all the time, but you just can't eat pizza every single day. And so I tried to find like ways to make it healthy. And so it was like, I would put like no cheese and then I'd put pineapple and like fresh tomatoes. And that's a secret combination. It's so good. I don't know. Maybe it was more like a flatbread, but yeah, I'm all about the pineapple.
What about you, Scott?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Americans, we like to just put our own spin on everything. So I've had all kinds of different things, but yes, my favorite though is banana peppers, which are actually very sweet and they got a bit of a kick to it. I like spicy. So, but yeah, I'll definitely eat pizza with pineapple.
Nice. What
Sounds
about
like you guys have to come
Maurice?
help me finish these leftovers.
Yeah, I've tried it. I will say it's not exactly a Canadian delicacy. We're more of a if we're gonna go make a pizza, it's probably gonna be like a meat lovers or something like that up here.
With the moose on, maybe.
Yeah.
Bears.
lots of different meat and maybe some mushrooms. For some reason, Canadians seem to love mushrooms on their pizzas.
Is there something that you'd never put on your pizza, guys?
Probably anchovies would be the only answer I could give off the top of my head.
Okay. What about you guys? Decentralanders.
Sushi, maybe?
I don't really. I like sushi, but I don't like mushrooms too much, so usually avoid those.
Yeah, I think it's mushrooms for me. I prefer them not on my pizza.
Okay. Great.
Cooked beside a steak is the best form for those.
The steak on pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, in Sweden, here, we have also lots of stuff on pizza, actually. It's kind of interesting to read the pizza menus sometimes. Like, what is this? Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for coming. There was a very interesting question, or maybe not interesting, but important question for everyone to know. They wanted to know which wallet is the best to use when you want to enter the metaverse, Decentraland.
MetaMask is the best hot wallet to use if you're looking to use just a wallet that's native to your web browser. But the most secure wallet that you could use is a hardware wallet, like the Ledger or a Trezor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what you could do is if you have a Ledger, you could set up your Ledger, and then you could create a MetaMask as well. So you're going to have both of them at this point. And then you could connect your Ledger to your MetaMask. So say something happens and you downloaded malicious malware and your computer information was stolen. The hot wallet, your MetaMask, could easily be hacked and have the funds drained at that point. But if you have an extra step like a hardware wallet, it adds a higher layer of security. More likely you'll likely be saved from one of those instances.
So you can have both connected.
Absolutely. What I kind of give like a short advice on just like ways to set up wallets if you're looking to enter the space and set up a few different wallets to be able to maneuver safely. What I recommend doing is setting up a MetaMask wallet, and within that wallet, that's called your hot wallet, where you could, say if you wanted to buy an NFT or use your crypto for something Web3 related, you could send money to send crypto to that wallet to use. The next step that you would want to do is have a ledger connected to that MetaMask. I call that a warm wallet. So that has assets like your NFTs and your some crypto available that you could use within your Web3 journey. Somewhat saved within that ledger that you could use to connect it to Decentraland or whatever. That's what I do. And then having an external ledger where if you're looking to save crypto for an extended period of time, or if you have like NFTs that you're looking to put in like a vault, is what a lot of people call it, to have one that is generally offline and not connected, and that's called cold wallet. So generally recommend to have kind of a stage of different wallets set up with different kind of layers of security, so you could protect yourself and your assets.
Great, thank you. Great answer. All right, so thank you so much for coming. And Maurice, I give you the floor also one last time.
Yeah, just wanted to say thank you as well, Mary, Alpha, Wolverine, and everybody over at the Crypto Miners community for the invitation to co-host. Obviously, was extremely excited to announce that partnership yesterday. And then to everybody here from Decentraland, Scott, Canessa, and Peanut Butter, just great to officially meet you. Can't wait for that tour Scott's going to be hosting on Monday. I mean, it's really cool to see that, again, you guys, from when the initial white paper was put together back in 2017, we're almost in 2023 right now. So it's pretty incredible to think, all the growth that has happened. The one thing I will say that I loved about the presentation and everybody's outlook here at Decentraland is the one thing I say in my space. And I mean, it may exist a little bit more in the world I live in than the grand scheme of crypto, but things are very siloed often. And I love that you guys are so open to that cross collaboration and essentially allowing your code being open source, but also your community, opening up the doors to other projects, other brands, and being confident enough in what you have to not essentially steal your thunder away or potentially you lose those users, right? So I think that's a big, some things that maybe everybody doesn't look for, but for me, as somebody comes from that corporate world, I really respect that kind of collaborative mindset and that openness to community. So keep up the great work. And again, Alpha, Mary, Wolverine, I really appreciate the opportunity. I hope this won't be the last time I'm here. And yeah, thank you again, everybody. Hope you have a great Saturday.
Thank you so much, Maurice from Caesar's Call. Great to have you here. And everyone in here, you can also head over to Maurice Call group, Caesar's Call, and have a look what they are doing. It's amazing AMAs with Maurice. And thank you guys for coming. It was a really pleasure, and I agree with everything Maurice said. It's great that you are like so open-minded and open to collaborate with others. I think that's the way forward for crypto, especially with everything that happened now with all the bad things with the, lately in space. So we have to keep together. The real projects, the good projects, we need to keep together and move forward as one, I think. So with that said, have a great Saturday, everyone. And